Hi, it's me, Jen, once again, and today I want to share with you my thoughts on the Beauty Blender versus the Real Technique sponge. So I told you guys how much I absolutely am in love with the Beauty Blender, and a lot of you were telling me, hey, have you tried out the Real Technique one? And I'm like, wow, I really like Real Technique's brushes, so I probably need to try the sponge. So I did get the sponge, and I wanted today to just kind of tell you guys what my thoughts are on the difference and which one I actually like better. So first of all, let's talk about the Beauty Blender. The Beauty Blender is the original Beauty Blender of all, okay? So basically it comes in a really small one right here. The original one is the pink one. I'm not a pink person, so I got it. I used it and I think I just left it wherever and now I have the black one and the white one. So when it first comes, it looks like this. It's a very small, compact sponge that's in a type of teardrop shape. And then whenever you run it underwater and squeeze out the excess water, it actually expands the sponge into a lot bigger. So that is the difference. The wet one is the black one, and then the dry one is the white one. So of course I would say recommend you to use it with it being wet. Don't ever use it with it not being wet. The expansion of the sponge is going to help the bounciness of the sponge. That's going to help prevent soaking up any of the products that you have, such as foundation. And it's going to help just bounce around the face and give you a really beautiful airbrushed effect. Now, everyone probably thinks, so why do I need a sponge and not a brush? The brush is going to help buff it into the skin and everything, but if you think about it, our skin isn't perfect. It has crevices, it has texture imperfections, and just like a wall that is kind of like perforated or has a little bit of texture, in order to get the paint or the foundation, same concept, into those crevices, using a sponge is going to be a lot better. It's going to help really just go into the skin compared to if you were using a brush. It's just going to go on top of the surface. So a sponge is really going to help soak up any type of excess product. What I also love about it is I can actually use it to set my foundation with a powder. So meaning I can go in and use a powder and I can just tap, tap, tap with a powder, and it's not going to make my skin look overly powdery. So with it being already a little bit damp, with it having a little bit of foundation on it, and then going over it with a powder, it really helps sets the skin flawlessly without making the skin look over cakiness or over powdered. Now what I also love about it is that I can actually use a setting spray, spray it onto the Beauty Blender, and just go over the face with it, and that way you get the right amount all over the face, and it really helps seal in the makeup without just spraying it all over the face. And I feel like you can get like a little bit more in certain areas and you might not get it into certain crevices of the face, but if you use a Beauty Blender to get it into the skin, it does such a better job. I noticed that if you put a foundation on and you don't use a Beauty Blender to kind of just blend it in, you get a little bit of extra foundation in certain areas and not enough in other areas. So that is why I absolutely love the Beauty Blender, and the design of it really helps make the makeup go on a lot better. When Real Techniques came out with this, I really absolutely love the shape. It has a flat side here and then a pointed side here. So the pointed side is going to help go into the little areas that you can't really reach, but then the flat side is really going to help lay down certain products really nicely. So I absolutely love the shape of the Real Techniques. One holds a lot more water. Even if I really try to squeeze out as much water as I can, and then going over it with a towel and squeezing the excess into the towel, I notice that it still holds a lot more water. The reason being is the tightness of the sponge isn't as dense as the Beauty Blender. So it's going to hold on to a lot more water, and I feel like when I use it, you can actually hear the water squish and squash onto the face, and I can hear it go, and it's not very efficient in blending, in my opinion. I also noticed that it soaks up a lot more of my foundation, and I also noticed that the finish on the skin is not as great. Because of the denseness in the material that the Real Technique sponge is made out of, I find that the weaving effect on it isn't going to be tight enough to actually make the skin look flawless. It kind of has bigger craters on the surface that's going to make the same type of texture onto the skin. Like the texture of the sponge is going to imprint onto your face the same way. So because the surface of it isn't as smooth as the Beauty Blender, and because there are more craters and more noticeable texture on the Real Technique sponge, I find it to translate the same way when I use it onto the face. I can actually see the imprint of the texture on the sponge onto the face. So overall, I absolutely think the Beauty Blender is still the original. There isn't actually anything that's better, and I honestly don't think that this can replace the Beauty Blender. So overall, it's a good sponge in my opinion in this shape. Because this is cheaper, I find that it is a good alternative if you're going to be using it on a lot of people and you want to be more sanitary and you can actually just throw it away after a couple of use. Rather than the Beauty Blender, I think this is going to last a very long time. It's a lot more expensive and it's just a lot better. I mean, you can also tell that this one, the bounciness is not even bouncy, it just goes in and out like a foam. It kind of reminds me of like those foams in seats. Like they're not, it's different. This is so much softer in bounce and it's just a lot better. So overall, I still say the Beauty Blender is my favorite. And if you guys, find that the Real Technique one works well for you, that is great. I'm so happy for you to find an alternative that's a lot cheaper. But in my opinion, my honest, humble opinion, I honestly think that the original Beauty Blender is still my favorite. Alright, I hope that this comparison review really just helped you. I am sorry if you absolutely love the Real Technique one and you think I just bashed it. I don't mean to bash it, I just think based on my own opinion, the quality, I'm just so sold on the Beauty Blender versus the Real Techniques one. But you guys already know I absolutely love the Real Techniques brushes. It's my ultimate all-time favorite synthetic brushes. And I mean, they do incredible things. So just based on just this product, I have to say the winner is the Beauty Blender. Alright you guys, I hope you enjoyed this review slash comparison. And if you want to see more, please subscribe to my channel and I will see you in my next video. Bye!